Okay, Mayor, we are on Facebook.
All right, thank you, Susan. Certainly want to welcome everyone to the Vinton Town Council meeting for this Tuesday evening, November 3rd, 2020. As a matter of fact, it's election day. So I want to welcome you to the council meeting. And Susan, if you would call the roll, please.
All right. Councilmember Lyles.
Here.
Councilmember Mullins.
Here.
Councilmember Stovall.
Here.
Vice Mayor McCarty.
Here.
Mayor Gross.
Here.
We do have a quorum of council. Town staff that are present: Pete Peters, Susan Johnson, Ann Cantrell, Chief Drummond, and Anita McMillan. Also present, Jeremy Carroll, our town attorney, Debbie Adams with the Vinton Messenger, and Kevin McNulty with Cox. I would like to confirm that our meeting is being held in accordance with Town Ordinance number 1016 and Section 4-0.01G of Chapter 1289 of the 2020 Acts of the Virginia General Assembly, and everyone present is participating by electronic means. Mayor, the meeting is yours.
Okay, thank you, Susan, very much. And thank you folks for being here. As per usual, we'll start with our moment of silence. This gives everyone an opportunity to pray as they see fit. And as always, we want to ask everyone to keep this country, this community, and this council meeting in their thoughts and prayers, and in particular, this special time of election in our country. And so I'll ask you to stand for that. And while we're standing, we'll ask our council member Keith Lyles to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I think it works out better if just Pete says the pledge, otherwise it sounds like screaming cats. But if you folks will stand for those two items, please, and then I'll close the moment of silence. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for this country in which we live, in our community. We just pray that you will continue to bless our country, our community, and be with us in the meeting tonight. Amen. Keith?
Thank you, Susan. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, folks. Susan, I like that picture you put up with the flag and the seal. That's pretty cool.
We'll give Ann credit for that.
That's neat. I like that a lot. That's really
Works
neat.
well.
Yes, it does. With that, we'll move on to our upcoming community events, and our vice mayor usually handles that. Mrs. McCarty?
Yes, sir. On December the 3rd, the reverse Christmas parade will start at 6:30 p.m. with the tree lighting, and 7 p.m. the parade begins. It's going to be a unique way that we celebrate this year, and I think everybody is looking forward to that. December the 5th, the History Museum Holiday Open House is from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And on December the 17th, the Vinton Chamber Holiday Open House is from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Community Center. And just wanted to say hats off for everyone that participated in organizing and attending the Halloween movie. I hear that it was a great success, and lots of kiddies got to come and enjoy it. So we appreciate everybody that took part in that. And that's all.
All right. Thank you very much. Any other announcements for this evening?
Mayor,
yes.
Vice Mayor, did you want to see
I
if
did.
Chief would speak
Yes,
to?
Chief, I'm so sorry. I asked about this earlier, and then in that short amount of time, I forgot. Chief, can you tell us about the Vinton's Bearded Blue activity that we have going on?
Absolutely. So we, in conjunction with Sergeant Caldwell and the great relationship he has with our local schools, Herman L. Horn and W. Cundiff, the men and women of the Vincent Police Department, and extended beyond into our town itself and employees, we've decided to participate in Angel Tree to basically give a better Christmas to kids that are less fortunate in our community or going through the hard times that we've been impacted this year. So employees are encouraged to participate where each one will basically adopt an angel tree from a Christmas tree from one of the respective schools and go shopping for each one of these students. There's no limit, as many kids as you want. And in lieu of that, the male officers have been encouraged to grow their beards, as you can tell by my own, to be a little bit more like Santa Claus and a little bit more of the Christmas spirit. So we're gonna authorize the males to grow their beards. That's something totally we're not accustomed to with our own regs and our own general policies. So it's something completely out of the norm for us. So it's very exciting for us to do it. I myself have never grown a beard my whole life, so I'm not sure what I'm capable of. And the young ladies, the women in our police department will be able to put some festive highlights on their hair to promote the holiday season and the season of love and giving. So we're really excited about that. The turnout's been huge. Every single member of the police department has joined. So we anticipate it's going to be a really cool process for us and a real good program with the schools.
Great,
All right.
Awesome.
thank you. And that
I guess
runs from, what were the dates on that again? It was
For us, it's
December-
effective.
November
sorry, go
1st through November 1st through December 31st.
Yes. Yes.
Hey, Chief, 3 days in, you're looking pretty good, buddy.
Yeah.
I may or may not had a goatee already. I may have had some inside knowledge that we were going to do it. So hopefully the rest fills in great. And I certainly encourage all of you to participate, and it'll be wonderful. It'll be something very different for us, and we're very excited for it. The officers are all very excited for it. So I expect nothing but great success from this program.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds great, man. That's really exciting. I love the way you're adding some additional funds to the program, because obviously it's a very worthwhile effort, but that'd be a lot of fun. Way to go.
Mhm.
Thanks. All right. Any other announcements this evening? No. If not, we'll move on to the next item, which is request to postpone or change the order of the agenda. Anything this evening? All right, hearing none. I don't see anything listed for the consent agenda or the awards. So we'll skip down to citizens' comments and petitions. Susan, have you received any comments or petitions or letters or anything this time?
No, sir, Mayor, I received none.
Okay, thank you very much. Don't see anything under town attorney, although I think we'll hear from Jeremy later. So, Mr. Town Manager, it's all yours, sir.
Thank you, Mayor Gross, members of council. I do have 2 briefings for you this evening and a couple of items that are going to require action. First off, I have a real estate property lease that also provides for an option to purchase for the vacant property located at 307 South Pollard Street. This is the vacant lot that sits in between the Vinton Municipal Building and Farm Burguesa Restaurant. We have been discussing this with Farm Burguesa for quite some time, and they finally got to the point maybe about 6 weeks ago that they had everything in line, and we presented this on 2 occasions to the town's Economic Development Committee. And I did mention it to town council under manager updates last council meeting. So today is just a briefing, and I'll go over some of the highlights of the lease agreement. Pretty standard with most of our lease agreements. It would be provide for 1 initial year with 4 additional years that we could renew the lease should we need that extra time. What's unique about this purchase or this lease agreement, it does also provide a purchase option for the owners of the building and Farnborough Gate. So they have created an LLC. So they are co-owners of the restaurant space. And they are anticipating investing $80,000 in a building expansion. Excuse me, a outdoor patio. One second. And a dumpster pad site for the restaurant. And so in order to protect their investment with the ultimate goal to purchase the property, this purchase option kind of locks into that space and no one can come in and kind of get it out from underneath them. What we have done is established a rent of $250 per year. That is essentially based on the total tax assessment that if this was on the tax records is what we would receive annually. That's both town and county taxes. So we just kind of rough estimated what that number would be and to provide some value for the annual lease. There are terms of the lease agreement as well that they have to maintain insurance. They have to maintain the aesthetics and upkeep of the property. So all that burden falls on the tenant. I don't have any renderings to share with you this evening. I did provide that at the last council meeting, but it is an attractive site as well, a good use of that space, and it will drastically expand their opportunity to one, remodel their kitchen. They can serve more customers in a quicker manner, and then there's obviously more dining space for folks to sit down. That is a very small interior space. I'm sure just about all of you have been to that location. So this will provide about seating for 46 patrons outdoors, and it would be semi-enclosed. So the patio would be able to accommodate much larger seasonal use, maybe late into the fall and early into the spring. So there are some triggers into that lease agreement once they do meet their investment goals and they're generating the revenue that they have suggested that they would. Then there's an opportunity for them to approach the town to purchase that property, and we would come back to town council at that point for a contract that you would have an opportunity to execute. So I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. We will bring this back to council again on November 17th, and I'll do a little more of an elaborate presentation, and we'll also be having a public hearing that evening as required for lease of an eventual sale of public property. Any questions you have on that item?
Yeah, Pete, I've got one. After the looking at all of the renditions, and I mean, it does look amazing. It's going to be really an awesome scene coming into downtown. The only thing I had concerns about was the dumpster pad and where it's located. Isn't that going to be like almost adjacent to the drive-through window?
Yeah, and it is proposed to be there, utilizing the existing curb cut. We can work with them once we get it more of a defined set of building plans, and we can make some modifications on that. And it will be screened. They will have landscaping screening, and there will be actual wood structure as required by ordinance to screen that structure appropriately. And we have made some modifications over the last couple of years of how we recommend or encourage folks to utilize the doors of that dumpster pad so that it doesn't swing open and someone forget to leave it open. So there is an ability for the gate to open and the truck to get it, but more of a walk-in feature for the restaurant employees themselves.
Right. Yeah, just curious if it's going to be landscaped as well. I was certain that we were going to have a screen around it, but just curious if they were going to put trees and things like that. So you just didn't see an old dumpster pad sitting there coming into downtown.
Yes, sir. I have concerns about, being adjacent to the municipal building as well as the church to our rear of this site, and want to make sure that their property is protected as much as we can and doesn't detract from either the municipal building or the surrounding adjacent property owners. So we've had those discussions. They're in the process of getting their final site plan, more detailed construction drawings to submit for their building application. Or the building permit. So we'll be refining that as we go along. And I'll be happy to update council as we go and make sure that everyone's comfortable with what we're suggesting and what we actually construct.
Thanks. I don't have any other questions.
Okay. The next item is very similar. This is just a lease agreement. There's no option to purchase in this case. This is for the property that we have, Anita helped out to identify a physical street address for this vacant lot that's now referred to as 110 East Lee Avenue. This is the vacant lot that sits between the Dogwood Restaurant and Cindy's Fashions on Lee. We have already put the sidewalk in that will connect Lee Avenue to the new parking lot at Vineyard Station. And we intentionally, when we were setting that layout, that design in place, we had to navigate some elevation changes from the sidewalk down to Vineyard Station, and it provided an opportunity for some contours. But we always wanted to protect with the idea that Dogwood had this concept of doing an outdoor patio as well. So all along we have planned for this. And so the Dogwood has petitioned to lease a portion of this lot from us. Again, it will be an initial 1-year lease with an option for 4 additional years to renew. We also kept the rent about the same, just to be equitable with what we're doing for Farmer Gesa. So the rent would be $250 per year, and they would generate considerable amount of more meals tax for us, because they are also expanding their interior space as well as the exterior patio. So they are almost tripling their seating capacity between expanding indoors and what they can accommodate outdoors. They are anticipating, this is a rough estimate at this point, it's not a hard number, of $20,000 improvement. This includes a rock or stone retaining wall, compacted material in that retaining wall with a brick paver patio on top, and some handrails. They don't have really the enclosure that Farmer Gesa is preparing at this point. There is a small awning that overhangs from the building over the large garage door and bar area. And they may come back at some point and want to enclose that to make it a little more usable further into the cooler seasons. But it is a very attractive. You saw the last council meeting, the renderings that were provided. They're on the same similar path of finalizing, now that we have a timeline for this lease agreement, of finalizing their construction detail to submit for their building application. So we've been working closely with the adjacent property owner, Kenny Fuller, as well as Dale Wilkinson, the developer for Vineyard Station, and their surrounding property owners to accommodate all concerns. So it seems to be progressing nicely. And again, similar to Farmer Gesa, I will bring this back on the November 17th council meeting. We'll host a public hearing, and I will have some more prepared renderings for your consideration, as well as the lease agreement. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have. All right, thank you very much, and appreciate our attorney Jeremy helping me work out the details of those 2 agreements. The next item is an item requiring action, and speaking of our town attorney, I'll turn this over to Jeremy Carroll, and this is the ordinance to approve the license agreement for Cox Communications. Mr. Carroll.
Thank you, Pete. Can everybody hear me okay? I know I've been having technology trouble, so okay. Definitely user error, I confess. As Pete indicated, this is the ordinance to finally approve both the franchise agreement with Cox Communications, as well as the wireless communication facilities master license and pole attachment agreement. The first agreement is the statutorily required franchise, which would allow Cox Communication access to public rights of way, public roads, for the purposes of telecommunications infrastructure. That's what required us to go through the public hearing process, the bid opening process with Cox. And that agreement, again, is for public rights of way and public roads. The second agreement, as we talked about at the last meeting, is the agreement that allows Cox to place small cell facilities, small antennas on town-owned poles and town-owned buildings in Benton. for the purposes of providing wireless communication services. Keith had asked a question at the last meeting about the fee associated with putting antennas on town-owned buildings. And we went back with Cox and quickly addressed that issue. Thanks to Cox for working with us so quickly on that. And we've come to an agreement on a $200 annual fee for antennas attached to buildings. As you may recall from the last meeting, antennas attached to poles had a $270 fee, and to incentivize placing those antennas on buildings instead of poles, there was a desire to come up with a lesser fee, and that's what we negotiated with Cox. The other thing that there were several questions about at the last meeting dealt with kind of the approval process. We will next be adopting guidelines, which obviously City Council, our Town Council, I apologize, has seen before. But those guidelines are incorporated into this pole attachment agreement, and the proposed locating of antenna have to conform to the guidelines. And the town will have an opportunity to review proposed antenna attachments to make sure that they do comply with the guidelines. And so I know everybody's familiar with these agreements, and this kind of brings this lengthy process to an end. Mr. McNulty, I see he's on the line if anybody has any questions for Cox as well. But with that, I think we are probably ready to adopt the ordinance and adopt these two agreements. If anybody has any questions.
Jeremy, I don't have any questions, but I would like to mention one item that I think is really important. If I understand attachment A properly, it gives us the right to limit the devices, the equipment that would be mounted on our street lights. I think I'm reading that correctly, isn't that right?
Well, the guidelines that Anita will be discussing specifically have a line in there about not putting them on the street lights in the downtown area. Yes, sir. If those are the street lights you're talking about, which I believe they are.
Right. That's part of attachment A, I think, isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
It's certainly in the guidelines. Yes, sir.
Okay, good enough. All righty. Council, any other questions or comments? All right, if not, you have before you an ordinance that would approve the agreements, as we've heard discussed many times, and certainly tonight as described by Jeremy. This would be the agreement with Cox Wireless Access. Any questions, comments?
And Mr. Mayor, I will add, taking a quick look at attachment A, you're correct. It's in there as well as to being included in the guidelines.
Okay, right. Well, that was just an important item that some folks had questioned. So I wanted to make sure that everyone understood that that's included in this ordinance. So,
Yeah, I know Keith had brought that up at the last meeting as
Yep.
well, asked about
I
that.
think so. Right. So if there are no questions or comments, we'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
And a second.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion for approval. I think that was Councilmember Lyles, and the second was Lori. Was that you?
Yes, sir.
All right, I thought it was. So we have a motion and a second. Susan, if you would call a roll, please.
Councilmember Lyles,
Yes.
Councilmember Mullins,
Yes.
Councilmember Stovall,
Yes.
Vice Mayor McCarty,
Yes.
Mayor Gross.
Yes. All right, ordinance passes. So I guess the next item then is the considered resolution. Anita, I think you're going to handle that. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, members of the Town Council, as follow up what Mr. Carroll was mentioning, these design guidelines will be adopted as a resolution by the Town Council. In this case, this design guideline will apply to any wireless providers that will want to enter an agreement with the town. Having said that, it did mention in the design guideline, page 5, bullet number 3, but discouraging wireless providers putting their equipment on the ornamental pedestrian lighting downtown, and also encouraging the wireless providers to co-locate in an existing building, like Mr. Carroll was mentioning, trying to provide incentive for them to co-locate on the town existing buildings, or areas that is not sensitive to the area. And also the last December, when we had that meeting, that was a concern that brought up by a former council member about the maintenance of the wireless, and that is addressed under page 9 of the guidelines, that within 90 days, if the equipment is no longer in service, the franchisee they have to remove the equipment. If they are not removed, the town can remove it and will send them a bill. So I'll be happy to answer any question that you may have.
Okay, thank you, Anita. Council, any questions or comments? Here again, this is something that we've talked about several times. So if there are no questions or comments, we'll entertain a motion for the resolution that would approve the small cell infrastructure design guidelines.
I'll make a motion to accept.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Vice Mayor McCarty and a second by Council Member Stovall. Susan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Lyles,
Yes.
Councilmember Mullins,
Yes.
Councilmember Stovall,
Yes.
Vice Mayor McCarty,
Yes.
Mayor Gross.
Yes. Thank you, Council. Mr. Manager, you have anything as far as project updates or comments?
Yes, sir. I have a couple of items, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir.
First, all being, you're probably all aware of the bridge collapse in Roanoke County of the railroad trestle. That has caused some impacts to the Regional Resource Authority. And in fact, it's not allowing us to get trash from the Hollins and Salem transfer station to Smith Gap. So we're unsure how long this reroute is going to take, but currently Venton trucks are taking all of our refuse to the Salem transfer station, and it's being hauled onto New River Valley. So I would anticipate probably a month, if not more. They're still trying to get some information from Norfolk Southern on what their repair schedule may be. But I did speak with Dan Miles with the Resource Authority, and they are working on some scenarios, and there's actually a conference call tomorrow to share some additional information with the board. So I'll continue to pass that along to council as that information becomes available, but it is no impact to the citizens. It's just taking us a little bit longer to empty the truck. It takes us about an hour round trip to go to Salem. And on average, we visit the transfer station once a day. So it is adding a little extra time. And like I said, it could be a month, maybe several months. The other item, as you may be aware, the finance office's drive-through window has been closed this week. We are starting the process to updating the drive-through as far as the window and how we service customers. And there needed to be some curb cutting to take place to allow the vehicles to get a little closer to the window itself, rather than have to hang out windows, or this is just going to be a little bit better customer service we can provide. So we had a little bit of a hiccup, didn't get a lot accomplished this part of the week, but they did pick up some larger equipment as a rental, and they should make some pretty good hay tomorrow getting the concrete. And it's possible we may have the drive-through back open on Friday, but we feel like for certain we'll have it back open first of next week. And Anne's done a great job of posting social media and different signage around the offices and such, notifying the residents of the impact. Let's see, a big news, some disappointing news, and we'll be sharing some more detail with council and obviously our citizens. But we got some unfortunate news regarding the Mountain View road construction project. That's going to be delayed. And so again, we'll get some more information out on social media. We'll do a really good job of updating our residents on what the impact's going to be. But this essentially comes down to the pandemic, as we can blame a lot of our financial struggles on. The pandemic has obviously kept people from driving, and a lot of the transportation funding is derived from fuel taxes. And when people aren't driving, they're not generating the revenue. Therefore, it's not there to subsidize many of the grants that we rely on to do road construction. So Mountain View has been impacted, and you know, they're while it's going to be delayed, at least how the revenues lay now. You know, they annually update their numbers, and it could be that this time next year they reanalyze and things have picked back up. Maybe COVID kind of gets past and people start traveling again, and revenues, you know, can see some rebound. So it's just a forecast. Hopefully we can expedite that a little bit along the way, but always looking for the silver lining. You know, it will hopefully potentially free up some funding that we have set aside for our capital match for the Mountain View project. And we can go ahead and do some of our own other priority capital now, because we would have some time to generate that additional revenue for our eventual match. So we'll be cautious and conservative. We bring that back to council for some feedback, but that's something staff will be working on the next several weeks, is what we can do to take advantage of this, you know, the schedule that we've been given. I also want to make council aware that we've hired a new employee. We have several departments that are currently in the interview process, but Public Works did hire a new chief mechanic. He started the job this week. His name is Jimmy Brown, and Jimmy is actually a native of Bedford County and has moved back to the area, but he did spend a considerable amount of time up north, mostly with the New York Department of Transportation. So he is a certified mechanic, and we're really pleased to have him. As you may know, Fred Sink is retiring in November, and we lost Corey back in September. So we were getting close to being without a mechanic, which is not a good place to be. So we're happy to have Jimmy on board. Congrats to Anita. We got word this week on Glade Creek Greenway Phase 2B. We received some funding from the TA grant program. So I believe we have $380,000 that's been awarded to us to do that project. It's about a $460,000 project, give or take. So some of that will be met as an in-kind match, and then we'll cash match some of that as well. But that's a big number, and it can help us finish Glade Creek Phase 2 sometime in the next year and a half to 2 years. And then finally, I'll just mention, last year we had partnered with our neighbors in Botetourt, Roanoke County, and City of Roanoke to host the Visit Virginia's Blue Ridge Ironman 70.3, but unfortunately COVID canceled that event. So we rescheduled, try to, you know, kind of pause and see if we could get through this. They went ahead and posted the entry just about 2 weeks ago, and within 2 weeks the event sold out for June 6, 2021. So 2,500 athletes have already registered for the event. So there's a lot of obvious pent up energy for folks wanting to get back out and compete. And this is going to be a really great event for the Valley, but a great event for Vinton, because we could highlight our town as this route. The cycling portion will actually come straight through our downtown. So put that on your calendars, June 6th. And we'll start getting back in touch with the VBR folks and Ironman folks to start those planning activities. But we had essentially worked out all the nuts and bolts of it last year before it was canceled. But you know, we'll get that up and underway again here soon. That is all I have for project updates and announcements. Thank you, Mayor.
All right. Thank you very much. A lot of good news in there. And of course, the Mountain View Road thing, it is somewhat disappointing, but I feel confident that will come through eventually. I guess we'll just have to be aware of the delays, and I'm sure that the town crews will be able to maintain that road for some additional time. But yeah, a lot of good news there. Thank you, Pete. All right.
Thankfully, we did. Were able to step it up a little bit with the patching, where we were going to go, because we knew we were going to replace it. We were going to go the cheap route. Thankfully, we didn't do that, and we were able to fix Mountain View to where hopefully it will last until that grant comes in.
Yep. Very, very good. Because that is a heavily traveled street in our town, so it's something we need to monitor closely, obviously.
It is. I talked to a town manager the other day and talked to him about the fact of made some calls to VDOT, and he alluded to it just a few minutes ago in his comments to the fact of they pushed everything out to that date. However, they're going to revisit. I meant to call Councilman McCarty, but they pushed everything out to that date so that people could look at the projects. So as Mr. Peters said, I don't know that it'll go that far. But anyway, we'll get some more information and stay on top of it. And I agree with you, Councilmember Lyles, the fact that, we went in and passed it. So, I mean, it gives people a good road now to drive on. So.
Yeah. Very true. Very good. Thank you, guys. Okay, and again, Pete, thank you for the report. A lot of good stuff going on there, that's for sure. And with that, we'll move on. I don't see any reports from the committees or appointments tonight. So just briefly under the mayor's.
Mayor.
Yes.
We do have an appointment tonight for Planning Commission.
Oh, yes, you are correct. I'm sorry. That's exactly right. So do you have that in front of you?
I do.
Okay.
We need to consider an appointment to the Planning Commission for a term that has expired. Council considered several applications to fill this position and desire to make an appointment. And I think Sarah Reed is who council has decided on, and that would be for a 4-year term beginning November 3rd, 2020 and ending on November 2nd, 2024. So we would need a motion and a second for that appointment.
Okay, folks, you heard the information, and of course you had received this this information earlier. So is there a motion concerning this nomination?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
All right, I think I heard the motion from Vice Mayor McCarty, and second, I believe that was you, Mike, that was.
It was.
All right. Second from Councilmember Stovall. All right. Any comments, questions? If not, all in favor of, do we need to call a roll on this, Susan, or just?
Voice vote will be fine.
Okay. All in favor of making the appointment that has been presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Same sign. No. All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you. And thank you, Susan, for the reminder. Just a couple of quick comments tonight under the mayor section. And I know all of our staff is really working hard and they're doing a great job. I think this COVID-19 has put an extra workload on most everyone. It seems like things that in the past were accomplished fairly routine now takes a lot of extra work. So I just want to thank our staff and congratulate them on the great job that they are doing. In particular, I'd like to congratulate everyone that was involved in the movie night. It obviously was a big success, and I know it took some extra work, but our community needs and appreciates things like that. So congratulations to you folks. It was really good news that Pete mentioned a while ago about the grant. So it's always good to know that we're continuing to work on those grants. You know, those announcements seem to come up pretty quickly. We all cheer and go on, but we know it takes a lot of work to get the grant, you know, and then also once you get the grant, there's a lot of work involved in the administration. So, but that's really good news. One last thing I'd like to mention tonight, and I hope this gets reported because it should, and that is, I wanted to thank Debbie Adams for the article she wrote last week in the paper concerning the lateral water and sewer lines. It was very educational. I suppose most of you folks saw that was in the Benton Messenger. And so, Debbie, thank you for the article. As I say, it's certainly educational and a great service for town, for our citizens. And you just continue to do a great job. You seem to cover everything in town, and just wanted to express my appreciation to you for the job you're doing and the service you provide for our community. So thank you, Debbie. And I hope that gets reported, by the way. So, thank you. And with that, we will move on to comments from council. And as we promised last council meeting, we will start in reverse order. So Council Member Stovall, do you have any further comments this evening?
Dude, just one question or just one comment. I talked to Councilmember Mullins, I guess about a week ago. So are we going to set a station up? Or are we going to have a spot in the Christmas parade? Is that what we're going to do? Have we thought about that?
You're on mute, Lori.
Sorry. I'm on board with whatever you guys would like to do. If we're going to do that, or are we elves? What are we doing? I'll do whatever.
Oh, what's that second part? Elves?
Yeah. You're looking like that now, Mike. I mean.
Thank you, Chief Drummond. Chief Drummond was the one that started this, to the fact of that you look like Santa Claus. You know,
Yeah.
I saw him looking at me when he made that comment. So
I think you did.
That beard's gonna look really good in a month.
it is.
Let's grow
Yeah.
up.
It is. Well, anyway, I was talking to Councilmember Mullins the other day, and I mean, I honestly think that, you know, and y'all are great at that. So, I mean, planning something like that for us to have an area to participate in the Christmas parade, I think would be good. And so anyway, that's you know, I think it's, and that video, the video was great. And Mr. Mayor, I agree with you. You know, we've just, I mean, we're just in a great spot. I mean, a great place. Yep. And we've got a lot of great staff. The town's doing well. You know, we've come out of, one of the great things is that, and I say this is about the finances. That's where it's at. And, you know, we've sat in those finance meetings and saw how we've come around the curve. So anyway, I did want to throw that out about the Christmas parade and look forward to that. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thanks, sir. Appreciate that very much. And with that, we'll move on to Councilmember Mullins.
All righty. Well, we have 1 month, Mike, to get this going. So we can decorate it up. We can have us a little theme, and that sounds good.
Well, I've got the trailer. My trailer, that hot shop that I use, it's 35 foot. And I mean, if we need a trailer, we can do that, or we can just put it on the, I mean, I don't know exactly. I mean, I get the stations, but anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but anyway.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
That's about it.
All right. We look forward to that, and look forward to doing the parade, or just being there either way, just to see how it goes. I'm excited that we're getting to do that. And I want to thank you guys, all the staff in town for their hard work the last couple of weeks. Well, every day, but the last couple of weeks. And this week has probably seemed like a long one, and it's only Tuesday. So good job, everybody. That's all I have.
Yeah, very good, very good. Thank you. Okay, Councilmember Lyles, do you have anything further this evening?
Yeah, Mayor, just real quick. Just like, you know, just say that we've had a lot of things happen this year, like everyone has, and just say the town hasn't, you know, missed a beat. You know, we've got a new town manager, if you will, a new chief of police, if you will, and nothing's changed. You know, we continue to move forward, even sometimes even at a quicker pace as things come up. So just really hats off to the chief, to Pete, just for keeping things going. When you're taking on new responsibilities, it's a different, you got a lot of things that you're not used to doing, but you guys jumped in there and just, like I said, you just never missed a beat. So it's really good to see how everybody's come together for that. And then just the Christmas parade, I think the chamber really did a really good job with coming up with something outside of the box where other localities aren't doing anything. We're still going to have a parade, and it'll be kind of a different one, but the excitement's out there. And I think they've really done a really good job on promoting it, along with Chastity and the video and everything. It's just, again, good teamwork, good thinking outside of the box, and then also partnering with the town and the chief and just making it all happen. So, and last, just like to thank my buddy Caldwell for the other day when the wind was blowing. I got Lisa runs upstairs. I'm still just kind of getting up, and the wind blew the gate open, and Pearl's out visiting all the neighborhood. And of course, first they go down to Debbie Adams' house first because she likes to go down there and visit. And had Caldwell was out in my driveway because he knew it was my dog because there's not a lot of Walker hounds around here, he said. So I hopped in the truck and we all passed each other, I don't know how many times. And Pearl eluded us all for about 45 minutes. And then I said, well, I'm going to take one more pass. And there she was right in front of my aunt's house, crossing the street. So just dedication to them to try to help find the dog rather than trying to just let her run free and, you know, get picked up and taken to the pound or, you know, by another neighbor. So just hats off. We have the best staff and best police department ever.
We do that.
So,
Great. That's awesome.
and this last thing, if we're going to do anything in the Christmas parade, just wanted to see, Mike, is that trailer you're talking about, is that thing legal? Is it everything on it good?
What's that again? I'm sorry, say that again.
That trailer you were talking about letting us use, is everything legal on it? And all
It is legal. You know, I saw Officer Caldwell this morning, and you know, he said the thing about it is that he was glad that you got out of bed at 11 o'clock to get in his truck and go find your dog. You know, he said you thought you was typically up at 10, but anyway, 11 o'clock would work. So anyway,
time change.
Oh, man. Nothing like a council meeting in a small town, right?
isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
More of this,
All right.
more of this kind of stuff in a government meeting would make this country a whole lot better than it is today.
Amen.
I will say that.
Yeah, you said that right, brother. I agree. Anything further, Vice Mayor McCarty?
Yes, well, I don't think Chastity's on tonight, but she had mentioned in the Christmas parade that we would do the elves or whatever and be with Santa Claus to hand out, I think maybe coloring books or something. So I don't know. I'm game for anything as well. I love to plan a party and make a statement. So I think if we're there and we're active, the folks will know that we're there and supporting and embracing change with everybody else this year. So it was a great job that Chastity did on the video. Thoroughly enjoyed that. I hope lots of folks can view that. And the only other thing that, well, I had thought with kids' involvement, a coloring contest, but I can get with Chastity on that later. But, we do have an excellent staff. We say it every time we're together, but we just can't say it enough. And I'm so excited about what's going on with the police department, the Angel Tree, and everything that we're doing there. That's just another act of that they do to promote the town of Vinton, as well as help children in need, and doing it in a fun way. So that's awesome. The only other thing, since it's November now, it got here quick, but just want to remind everybody, which I'm sure you're aware of, but just a reminder to support our local businesses. Buy our gifts here in Vinton, buy our clothes here in Vinton, buy gift cards to our restaurants. It's going to be a challenging winter. So if you can just remember that and support our businesses, that would be great. That's all I have.
Thank you, Vice Mayor, and that's a good word. Support our local businesses because I do think this winter may present some challenges. So, but having said that, I'm sure we are up to it. I just have a lot of confidence, obviously, in our town staff and actually our community as a whole. I just feel like we will come through all this and hopefully very soon, because I know a lot of us are getting wary of the restrictions that COVID-19 has placed upon us. But we'll get through it. We'll get through it.
Let me ask one more time, if you don't mind, and great comments, Sabrina. So Sabrina and Lori, let me make sure I understand, does the elf, does that work require a costume?
Oh, yeah.
But, of course it does.
I mean,
Oh,
with the
yeah.
shoes, you gotta wear the
Oh, Chris-
shoes and all that?
Chris has got it. Chris has got it at Grand Rental. We got you hooked up. Don't worry, Mike.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, it requires everybody to have a costume, but you really don't need one.
That's why I love you. That's why I love you, Keith.
All right. Thank you, folks. And with that, if there are no further comments, anything further to come before council this evening, because we do have a closed session scheduled. If not, we'll move to the request for the closed session to convene, request to convene a closed meeting pursuant to 2.2-3711 of 1950 Code of Virginia as amended for discussion and consideration of the assignment, duties, and performance of the acting town manager and interim chief of police.
Hey, Mr. Mayor, this is Jeremy. Just real quick. Pete, is there any other personnel issue that needs to be discussed before we go in there?
No, sir. Council is
just-
aware of
Just wanted to
other-
check.
Yeah, other staff changes, so we're good.
Okay.
Okay. Of course, we could always talk about the town manager, I guess, but not town manager, town attorney.
You could do that. But you better add it to the motion.
No, just kidding, just kidding. All right. So with that, do we need a vote to go into the session or?
Yeah, motion second and a vote. Mhm.
All right, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to go into closed session.
Second.
Okay, Susan, did you get it? I think that was.
And just to be clear, Keith's motion is consistent with what Mr. Mayor said just a second ago about 3711A1 to discuss the police chief and the town manager.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right, please call the roll, Susan.
Councilmember Lyles,
Yes.
Councilmember Mullins,
Yes.
Councilmember Stovall,
Yes.
Vice Mayor McCarty,
Yes.
Mayor Gross.
Yes.
Hang on, give me 1 second.
Okay.